Assassin's Creed Valhalla tips and tricks. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has been around for just about a few months, and players around the globe have already been going through the nooks and crannies of the game. These are 10 handpicked tips and tricks that you can use on your Valhalla playthrough. I'd like to also mention that this list isn't in any order because of how important all of them really are. Anyway, here we go. To start off, we have upgrade Rations ASAP. We all know how important items can be in any RPG, and as the Assassin's Creed franchise has stated taking that route, we need to keep it in mind here as well. Valhalla has a new approach to health management where health does not regenerate over time. What a fantastic concept! Instead, you use rations that fill up your health gauge when you're low. You can collect edibles like berries, mushrooms, and food found in containers or baskets to help refill your rations. In your inventory, rations and your quiver can be upgraded with resources you found around the world or by completing raids. This way, you can hold more rations all at once. Doing so early on will give you an edge, allowing you to stay alive for longer as long as you've accumulated enough edibles to keep you going. Up next, we have Collectibles. Unlike the previous entries in this franchise, the current Assassin's Creed games feature collectible items and points of interest that are divided into three main categories. Unlike the previous entries in this franchise, the current Assassin's Creed games feature collectible items and points of interest that are divided into three main categories. One is wealth, which composed of ingots, abilities, and weapons. 2. Mysteries, which compose of side quests and puzzles or challenges. And then 3. Artifacts. This composes cosmetics and treasure maps. You'll see these three types of items scattered all across the world of Valhalla. Up next is Stealth difficulty. From the presentation of the game, developers Ubisoft seem to be revisiting the stealth roots of the previous entries in the AC series here in Valhalla. And as much as I appreciate that, some of those classic mechanics present in the game really need to be polished. You're either too easily spotted or alerting guards of your presence no matter how carefully you thread. To help make sneaking around less frustrating, lowering the stealth difficulty to the lowest setting, Apprentice could be your best bet. This lowers the enemy's perception, making it harder for them to detect you. Valhalla has other settings worth turning on depending on your playstyle, including how you wish to approach combat. For world navigation, for example, you can choose from Adventure, which you can find more in-game icons to guide you to a destination, Explorer through the default setting, and Pathfinder through minimal HUD and less information on the world map. Now we have barred doors. Across your journey in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you'll find many doors that are barred on one side. The special Odin sense can be used to detect the red barricades on the other side. This also usually means that there might be an alternate entrance, either through the windows or through a breakable roof, or even through an underground passage. Some barricades can even be destroyed by snipping through cracks in the walls. You have a wide array of options to choose from when it comes to opening doors. Up next, we have aim for weak points. Who doesn't want to deal large sums of damage? Everyone does, right? Well, with a bow and arrow equipped, you can deal heavy amounts of damage from across a distance. You can also aim for an enemy's weak points, which glow in yellow while they are in your sights. These can be found anywhere between the arms, legs, and even the torso sometimes. Successfully hitting these weak points will not just deal a more devastating blow, but it can also result in an enemy stumbling, making them vulnerable to a finishing attack. Now we have secure those sync points. We've all been introduced to the sync points in previous Assassin's Creed games. In the first couple of titles, the phrase that was used for it was Eagle Viewpoint, and the concept has remained the same over all the titles that come henceforth. It's worth reiterating that due to the vast nature of Valhalla's world, you will need to make sure that you're clambering up the nearest eagle-symboled sync points to acquire those fast travel It's worth reiterating that due to the vast nature of Valhalla's world, you'll need to make sure that you're clambering up the nearest eagle-symboled sync points to acquire those fast travel locations. From where traveling from one location to another just makes life a little easier. Now, many Explorer purists will try to despise the fast traveling options that are included in these huge worlds, but the campaign purposefully takes you across nearly the whole map. And you don't want to be the Viking caught out when you forgot to sync in a town that you need to go back to or as part of the story. Synchronization points also label up towns and areas of interest on your map so that it comes in handy during the campaign too. Hence, this one's an essential more than a tip. Make sure you remember. Coming up next, we have watch out for mushrooms. So some real-life mushrooms have let's just say, a certain psychedelic effect on you sometimes. And just like in real life, you need to keep an eye on your mushroom intake. While most pickable foods are good for you, there are several mushroom patches that will drain your health. A couple of things to remember. The yellow mushrooms are perfectly fine, but if you see some black fungo, which you'll often spot in cursed places, steer clear if you don't want to watch your health bar drain out. Thankfully, Ubisoft doesn't appear to be a bully, so anything you find growing in the area of boss battles or raids will be safe to eat. Such a relief. Next tip, we have whistle for the win. We're so glad this one was added into the game. Here's another stealth tip for you. If you're hiding in the bushes or a haystack and want to lure enemies closer for a kill, you can whistle to get their attention, just like previous Assassin's Creed games, and literally so many other games that rely on stealth as a major playstyle. This also is one of those key stealth elements that make the game even more fun to play. Down to our last two on this list is the advanced assassinations. If you're someone who likes to play with a more stealthy approach, then this one's for you. Now that Assassin's Creed has reintroduced hay and murder ropes across the streets of Valhalla, the advanced assassination skill is an absolute essential. It's along the yellow line or along the skill tree and allows you to assassinate even high-level enemies if you manage to win at a quick time event minigame. All you need to do is tap the assassinate button once to kill and then tap it again when the indicator is in the highlighted area to kill even the strongest enemies. You can even slay potential bosses before they know what's hit them. How cool is that? Down to our last one on this list is outside the Animus. Assassin's Creed Valhalla partially takes place in the modern day, just like the other games in the Assassin's Creed series, and the game places sequences in the present acting as breaks between the historical plotline. Every once in a while, you'll be removed from the Animus, and for those of you who don't know what an Animus is, it's a machine that lets modern-day protagonist Layla relive the memories of ancestors and puts you into the present. Once you're out, you can talk into the other characters and catch up on emails, because responsibilities and all. According to narrative designer Darby McDevitt, the dialogue is updated on a regular basis to make for unique moments when you leave the Animus. So if you're into that kind of stuff or just are a bit of a completionist, you'll really want to keep this in mind.